and because of the problem over circumcision. In Galatians, he's all worked up about it because he says some want to come in, as he says in end of chapter 1, and spy on the freedom we enjoy in Christ Jesus. Some from James. And what he means is they want to look at our undershorts. That's what he really is talking about. He's being a little bit polite about it, but the spy on the freedom means they want to look and see if we're circumcised or not. And I don't make it a big issue, but in Acts, that becomes a big issue. Because later on, Paul is on the Temple Mount, and the cry goes up that this is the man teaching against our religion, against our people, etc., in all the areas of Asia, meaning Asia Minor and Greece. And now he has brought uncircumcised people into the temple. Right or wrong, the temple had signs, no foreigners, or to go beyond a certain point on point of death, just like Mecca has today. And Mecca is a direct descendant of Jerusalem, right or wrong. And those warning stones have been found. I have pictures of some of those warning stones in my James book, which are written in Greek and I think in Hebrew. You know, and that's where your blood is on your own head comes from. If you go beyond this point in the temple and you are not, you know, a person who should be in the temple, your blood is on your own head, basically. You're responsible. That's where the Gospels get that one, I think, from. In any case, let's go on. This is the background. So he is in Jaffa at the house of someone called Simon. Just like in previously, he was at the house in Damascus of someone called Judas. Always the same names pop up here. Anyway, chapter 10. There was a tanner, by the way, named Simon. Now there was a certain man in Caesarea named Cornelius. Here's our Cornelius, to my mind, of the Lex Cornelia. A centurion, and this is where the Greek comes in handy, of the Italicus regiment. Of the Italicus regiment. Now you may have Italian regiment. Italicus is not precisely Italian. How many have Italian in their translation? How many have Italica? Well, you should have Italica. Now this may or may not be important. I think it is. Well, who's ever helped me wipe the floor, that guy's going to pull his hair out today. Italica. Italica turns out to be a town in southern Spain near present-day Seville. It was the Roman settlement, military settlement in southern Spain, where all the later Roman emperors came from. Nerva, Trajan, and Hadrian all came from Italica. And I think that's very important. Trajan's father is talked about in Josephus as a very brave legionnaire who does all kinds of things in the war against the Jews in the 60s. He's a centurion. And to my mind, this is stuff aimed at conciliating people of that background. It may not be. Josephus says that the legionnaires in Caesarea were of Syro-Phoenician stock, and they were very anti-Semitic. And in fact, they were the most brutal legionnaires in Palestine, and that they caused most of the trouble between the Greeks and the Jews through their butchering and mayhem. And that when Titus finally conquered the whole place, he banished those legionnaires from Palestine. That's one of the points he makes in the Jewish report. So now you have to decide. Here we have a virtual saint from the Caesarean band of legionnaires of the Italica regiment. Now look how he's described. A pious one, a God-fearer. He feared God. That's a God-fearer. That's a very important concept. Those are Gentiles associated with Jewish communities are called God-fearers. It's in the Dead Sea Scrolls Damascus document too. And he had done, he was doing charity to the people. And praying to God here's a Roman centurion of the most violent band in Palestine. He's praying to God all the time and giving charity to the people. This sounds like a picture of James. It's James who we hear is in fact praying to God all the time in the temple. Anyway, maybe it's a Roman centurion. I'm not going to argue with that. You'll have to decide how authentic you think this is. And about the 9th hour of the day, again we have the person with the stopwatch. He saw a vision plainly, an angel of God coming down. Here's another one, heavenly visions. Now he's having the vision. James has the vision in the death scene, as you recall. Cornelius, or Pete, or Paul earlier. And he looked up. What is it, sir? Your prayers and your charities have become a memorial for God. Noel will be able to tell you. Can I borrow your pen? I want to mark this.
Noel? Oh, this one.
Noel will tell you that at the end of the Damascus document, that they said a book of remembrance would be written out for God-fearers. It was one of the things said in the Dead Sea Scrolls in this very key document. All these references to memorial, to my mind, hark back to that. In any event, God-fearers and a book of remembrance be laid out for God-fearers. He said, send the people to see Simon's house, because there's a Peter there, but there's also Simon a tanner there. It's getting a bit confusing. In any case, he called two of the servants of the pious soldier, and they went to this place, Jaffa, from Caesarea. And at the moment, Peter was on the rooftop there, and then suddenly, before anyone comes, it says he's there on the 6th hour now. Make things definite in terms of stopwatch time here, and to add to the authenticity of the narrative. That the writer wants you to know. Let me have that when we can. The writer wants you to know that he knows what he's talking about. So now it's the 6th hour. Where was that other one about the? When it was the other hour. What line was that?
Verse 3.
Verse 3, thanks. We want to get the 9th hour. This is the 9th hour. I don't know. I really don't. It's a time frame that was used at that time. But I don't know when their time began. Maybe 12 o'clock at night, maybe 6 in the morning, or maybe the sun up, maybe, I don't know. But the point is that this is to lend authenticity. I'm sorry, I want to hurry because I only got a couple of minutes left here. I have no idea. It's a good question, but you could probably find the answer by looking it up as quick as I could, because I don't know the answer of their time frame. And he was hungry and making ready, and suddenly he fell into a swoon, and the heavens opened, and something came down. A giant sheet tied at its four corners was being let down from heaven. A tablecloth was being let down from heaven. Now, I do not consider this historical. You may. But this is where I, as a historian, part company with the literary people, the Hollywood screenwriters, okay? The Mel Gibson crew. And there were all kinds of it, were four-footed animals, wild beasts, creeping things, birds. In the Pseudo-Clementines, Peter, like James, is a vegetarian. But here it's just to attack dietary regulations. Basically, all the Jewish forbidden foods were on this thing. And a voice cries out from heaven, "Get up, Peter!